She told the world she was just a girl who liked getting dressed. But there's a dress she's been carrying since kindergarten, and the story behind it says everything the industry doesn't want you to know about how they build a star. Zendaya Mary Coleman, born in Oakland, California. By the time most kids were still figuring out their lunch order, she was already being fitted into costumes, trained on sets, and shaped by adults who decided what age appropriate for the cameras almost just as long. The world thinks Zendaya's fashion journey is a natural glow-up story. Girl next door becomes Hollywood royalty. Combat boots to couture. But look closer at the receipts, and you'll see a pattern that runs deeper than style choices. Her earliest red carpet appearances were described as girly, but tough, but cool, but not trying too hard, but age-appropriate. Her words. She was 13, and even then, she was already calibrating herself for an industry that has very specific ideas about how a young black girl should present herself in public. That's not a fashion choice, that's survival. In her own words, she described growing up in front of people and making a deliberate decision to never look too grown too quick. She said it herself, slowly experimenting, slowly stepping into her womanhood. Think about what it means to have to narrate your own coming of age like a press release. To have to justify every inch of skin you show. That pressure doesn't come from nowhere, and it doesn't disappear when the cameras switch off. Now here's the detail that stopped us cold. At a Screen Actors Guild Awards, she wore a handmade Valentino gown, silk roses attached by hand in the atelier. The dress was so heavy, she described it as a shimmy dress. Couldn't sit in it. Couldn't move properly. Wore it for the cameras, got the shot, and changed. The dress got her moment. She did not. That dynamic, perform for the image, then disappear, is not unique to that night. It is the entire architecture of celebrity womanhood. Spider-Man premiere, she wore Alexander McQueen and quietly referenced the film's villains through her accessories. The fashion press went insane. But nobody asked the obvious question. Why does a 20-something actress need to embed narrative messages in her earrings just to be taken seriously at her own movie premiere? Why does the art have to be hidden inside the dress? Tells a story nobody caught at the time. She said the dress never quite got to what we were hoping it to get to, never finished. She wore an unfinished dress to one of the most photographed events in Hollywood. And her response was to lean into the camp of it, leave her shoe on the red carpet, and frame it publicly as her Cinderella shoe left behind on the carpet. Everyone laughed. Everyone loved it, but nobody stopped to ask, when a young woman loses her shoe at a glamorous event and has to publicly narrate it as a fairy tale, are we watching liberation? Roach has been by her side since the beginning, and their partnership is genuinely collaborative. She makes that clear, but she also admitted that for one shoot, they weren't sure they could control the image if the look ran too revealing. That calculation, what I can control, what I cannot, is something no 22-year-old woman should have to run in the background of every single professional appearance. But this industry demands it, especially from her. The wedding dress, the one she wore filming Euphoria, a simple, beautiful gown, her words, chosen to contrast the chaos of the scene. And when she was asked whether she had been dreaming of her own wedding look since she was little, she laughed and said yes. She was a bride for Halloween 2 years, running as a kindergartner. Not because she was obsessed with weddings, because she just wanted an excuse to wear a fancy gown to school. A little girl who just wanted to wear something beautiful, who got cast into an industry that would decide when she was allowed to be beautiful, how much of it she could show, and what narrative it would carry. And then asked her to be grateful for the opportunity. The Odyssey press materials are already circulating. The costumes, designed by the same team behind Greatest Showman, reportedly required layers of warming undergarments beneath. The thin period fabric because they were shooting in locations that gave no protection from the cold. She described it as needing to keep herself warm with fleece under a look designed for aesthetics, not human comfort. on a project she described as making her pinch herself just to believe she was part of it. Zendaya that the industry loves to celebrate and absolutely cannot afford to fully examine. She is extraordinarily good at making an impossible system look like a dream. The unfinished gown looks theatrical. The too heavy dress becomes a joke about sore feet. The controlling of an image becomes a lesson about growing into womanhood. She is a master of reframing, and that mastery was not something she arrived at naturally. It was trained into her by years of navigating spaces that were never designed for her comfort. The receipts are in every single anecdote she tells with a laugh. And the question nobody in Hollywood wants to answer is this: when a woman has to be this good at managing her own image just to exist in a room, what does that tell us about the room? If you want more exposés on the stories the industry buries in plain sight, subscribe to Celebzova right now, because we're just getting started.